Welcome to the Geek Envy Podcast, episode 37. My name is Matt, and this podcast is about video games, geek culture, really anything we feel like talking about. We have a really good show lined up today. We have our usual crew here of Joey and Eric. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Yo.
And we have Courtney returning. She's going to be a regular going forward, I believe. If that's not too much pressure.
Not enough pressure.
Oh boy, I don't ask for too much.
And then we also have a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine, Aysha, who is actually in the industry. So she's, I think, our first person who's in the industry that's not another web journalist.
Hi, I'm Aysha. I am in the industry.
Yes, in the industry. So I think today we're going to do something a little different, and we'll probably just talk with Aysha about what she does, about her game or the game she's involved in, and all that. So yeah, I'll hand it off to you guys.
So Aysha, thank you for joining us this evening, this lovely Tuesday after. It's a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah,
it was almost Tuesday when you wanted to do that.
Eric thinks the podcast is on Tuesday because he thought it was yesterday.
We usually have it planned for Tuesdays, but otherwise I'm the one who is always not ready to go.
We switched to Wednesdays like a year ago.
Yeah.
It was my birthday yesterday, so you would have had drunk Aysha.
Happy birthday. That could have been awesome.
That would have been a great episode.
We can do another episode with drunk Aysha. She's just not here right now.
We'll work up to it.
Yeah.
All right. So I did a little bit of recon, and I found your little autobiography thing, so I want to just read it out real quick.
Okay.
So Aysha is from Washington, D.C., in a house that no longer exists, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Bad memories, good memories?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You're living in the South, and you are a philosophy major.
Yes.
A barista by day, which fellow barista here as well at one point in life. Matthew as well.
That's how
we met.
And I met.
Yeah.
At good old Starbucks.
At the Starbucks in the mall kiosk.
Starbucks.
In what, like 2009?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to bleep out all the Starbucks references just to make things more mysterious.
That's fine.
Oh, that's cool. Like, is it going to be like a big beep? It'll be like, boop.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll just be like, they're just saying fuck.
They worked at Area 51, whatever the fucking area that is.
Yeah.
And you are a freelance writer by night. So, with that, we kind of looked up a little bit on the current run of games that you've done. You're also big on writing adventures, so short stories and also flash fiction stories, right?
Yes.
So with that said, I know that's kind of like the general introduction, and again, thank you for being here. I'm going to pass off to Courtney. Now, Courtney did a lot of our background research into you. She did a deeper dive than I did. So please, Courtney.
All right. So I played the first 2 acts of Hiveswap, the Friendsim, the Friendship Simulator, I guess I could say the full name. And again, I know nothing about Homestuck, so as a person coming in from no experience with that story whatsoever, I really enjoyed it. I know nothing about these characters, but I enjoyed all of the characters I played. I do know you wrote one character in particular from the act that I played, and I would like to know a little bit more about Homestuck, honestly. Could you give me like a synopsis or something?
God. That's a hard one, kind of, because when I remember I used to ask people, I'm like, what is Homestuck? And people are like, I'm like, is it a webcomic? And people say, sort of? Mm-hmm. And I always wonder how can something be sort of a webcomic? And now I know. So it is a webcomic that started running in 2009, written by a man named Andrew Hussey, who before that had written some other things, like he calls it MSPA Adventures. Basically, people write in what they want him to do next, and like by popular vote, he like draws the character doing something. So Homestuck is about a group of 4 friends who play a video game together and accidentally trigger the end of the world. So they all know each other. They're all from different parts of the world. They're internet friends. They've never met in real life, and they start playing this new game called Spurb. And meteors start heading towards the Earth, and they all have to get inside this video game world before the meteors destroy Earth. So they're saved, the rest of Earth is obliterated, and they find out that they have to play through this video game in order to create a new universe that they will then be the gods of.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah, in the process of this, they meet a race of aliens called trolls who are doing the same thing. Their universe was destroyed. And those are the characters in the Friend Sim. Okay. That's, you crash landed on Alternia, which is the name of the trolls planet.
Those are the gray people, right, that you see?
Yes,
like the
gray
cosplay.
People with the candy corn horns, yes.
They're adorable.
I think the first time I ever heard of Homestuck was from a meme where there's like 3 people cosplaying it, and then there's like a security guard in the background. Like
that's a classic meme.
Yeah, it's like that's pretty old. I think that's like at least 10 years old or something. Like that.
he's got like a deep look of disgust on his face, and I can't say it is not deserved.
Yeah, and it zooms in on him. It's pretty good. So.
It's good. Yeah.
So, in regard to Hiveswap, the friendship simulator, the Friend Sim, is this canon? Are these trolls from the webcomic?
So the webcomic is done, and it was finished in 2016. The video game Hiveswap, which I also write for, is the prequel, and it's about the children of one of the characters. And Homestuck is the sort of story where a prequel can be about your children because there's a lot of time shenanigans, but it's about there was some kerfuffle with like production, and it got put on hold for a while, and in the interim we're like, holy shit, we have all of these NPCs, all of these like gorgeous character designs, let's just do a visual novel in the interim. So yes, they are all characters who are going to be in Act 2 of Hiveswap. We've just gotten to know them better in the interim with like a faceless protagonist. And to a certain extent, the question of whether or not it is canon is kind of addressed in the simulator itself.
Okay.
Like it's like a meta-textual kind of.
That is spoilers, so we can't.
Yeah.
You got to play the game to find out.
You got to play the game. They're 99 cents each.
It's worth it. Like I said, even as somebody who knows nothing about Homestuck, I love visual novels. I think Joey also enjoys visual novels, but they're just short enough that I can like sit down and play, and just long enough to keep me interested for that short playtime. So I plan on buying a couple more just because I really liked the different trolls. And then I will finish up my questions with asking about the first troll that that you wrote for in Volume 2, I'm assuming. And how do you pronounce her name?
Amicia?
Amicia. She's super cute.
Yeah, she's very cute. She also loves murder.
You find out, which is also makes her cuter, honestly.
All right.
I don't know where we're going here.
So did you pick these character traits? Did you make this character? Like, how does that work?
So actually, the all of the trolls already had character designs. We had a big like document of like, and we had like character traits and like descriptions of some of them. Like a couple of them, we only had a couple things. Like there was one character that it just is like looks around a lot, an assassin. And then there's like Skyla, who's in Volume 3, who we just had like pages of farm memes for her.
Oh, so good.
Just like, I just want to mow hay, stuff like that. So Amicia, I knew that she was like a small child who was high in the caste system of Alternia. So she's a blue blood, which is like up there. And on this alien planet, there's like a very rigid caste system. And depending on the color of your blood, you're either like big and powerful or small and weak. And she's one of the higher end, so she's very strong even for her size, and she uses the blood of low bloods to make her paint.
Ooh. How many varieties of blood are there?
Oh, she's got many.
Oh, interesting.
Is there like a whole like chromatic scale?
Yes. Well, it's the rainbow. It goes from burgundy to fuchsia, with all the ones in between, and it also has to do with the Zodiac, kind of.
This is like some deep lore.
This is really deep. My god, dude. There's a whole world.
That's really cool, though. I'm very interested in checking Homestuck out now. And then, did you get to pick which characters you wrote for? Because I know your writing is in more volumes.
Yes.
Or were you just kind of thrown?
Well, I mean, to start out, like, I kind of just, like, stumbled into being in charge of it because, like I said, there was a whole, like, situation. And I kind of just became the head writer on the project. And so Andrew Hussey and I would kind of just, like, play musical trolls, like, who can do what, when, who would be good for what route. And I, like, grabbed a couple that I really wanted to do, but mostly it was just, like, who needs to be done. A couple times people had to, like, bow out, and I had to write a route in, like, a week. Oh, wow. Like, that happened a couple times. So, in general, I got to choose, but some I kind of was shanghaied into. But, as, for instance, the character who is a clown, who's, all the clown characters are based on juggalos. They're all juggalo jokes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, no. That's kind of also amazing. Well, I have asked my couple questions, and I will pass it off to Joey or Eric, whoever wants to take it.
I'm willing to take this up.
All right.
I actually am huge into kind of science fiction myself, and, you know, looking at a lot of the other things you've written, I kind of tried to find some previous examples, or at least things that were free to read in the quick moment that I could do my research.
Gotcha.
But you do seem to like to write a lot of short stories based in science fiction settings.
Yes.
So is that kind of like your preferred genre, or does it just happen to work that way?
I think that it is. I really like cyberpunk. It's probably my favorite. I like robots. I like space. Yeah, about 50% of what I write at least has robots in it.
Can't go wrong with robots.
Yeah.
We're big robot fans.
Good.
Yes, if you haven't noticed already. So, quick runoff. What is your favorite cyberpunk-related movie? Just want to...
Movie?
Yes.
Probably The Fifth Element, which might be my favorite movie of all time.
Good choice.
Good choice. All right. So, kind of, what are some other of your inspirations for when you write? Do you take inspiration from books, kind of movies, games, music? I mean, Fifth Element being a good cyberpunk thing. I was kind of thinking you were going to say Blade Runner, but maybe it's a little too mainstream.
I do like Blade Runner. I rewatched it recently, and I was actually surprised that it didn't hold up as well as I thought it would, actually. But we can talk about that some other time.
Did you see the new one?
I didn't see the new one.
Oh, it is super good.
Really? I've heard deeply mixed things about it, but that's
I went into it like expecting to be disappointed and was like blown away.
Okay.
Like, they did a great job.
Well, like my influences, this is not a sci-fi writer. I mean, I guess he does a little sci-fi. Neil Gaiman was a huge influence. Okay. I love Sandman. I love American Gods. Holly Black, who is a YA writer who writes like modern fairy tales, which is another thing I really like. If it's not robots, then it tends to be things I write tend to be like retelling of fairy tales. I've done a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I've done Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market. I have a novella coming out in a couple months that's based on Puss in Boots.
Nice.
I have a story that's available. I think it's available for free online. That is a Sherlock Holmes pastiche. So I really like to retell stories in new ways.
Cool. So given the fact that you like to kind of retell stories, or at least dive into that atmosphere, what would, I guess my follow-up question to that is kind of what's been a favorite project for you? What's been a favorite kind of pet project or story that has stood out?
Well, I mean, so I've been a fan of podcasts for a really long time. I love podcasts. I listen to them all the time. It's very exciting to be on one.
You are on one, actually,
I know.
I think, or you did one before.
So I write for a sci-fi podcast called The Strange Case of Starship Iris. And it's like a it's like a space drama.
So feel free to plug that. Where can people find it?
You can just search The Strange Case of Starship Iris on iTunes. The first season is up. It's up in its entirety. I didn't write any of that. I came on for the second season, which is not out yet, but we're working on it right now. And it's just like such a delight to hear people say lines that I wrote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So they it's all acted out by different people.
Yes. Yep.
So it's like a Hitchhiker's Guide type thing.
Yeah, like a radio drama.
Right. It's a radio drama, basically.
Radio's dead, man. Podcasts. They're podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's
now.
No.
Even though it's a podcast, it still refers back to the old, like, Orson Welles kind of War of the Worlds radio drama.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So that's been really fun. It's like, and the same thing happened with Homestuck, in that I was a fan of something first, and then I got hired to write for it. So it's like I'm making my own stuff, but at the same time, I have like the excitement that comes from writing like fan fiction, which is how I started. Like I was a fan fiction writer all through college and stuff like that, and that's how I got my job, etc.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you have like a preferred favorite format? Would you rather stick to podcast over writing short stories? Would you write a full book if you could at one point?
I have written a full book, actually. It's in the editing process right now.
Can you clue us in, or is that
it's
hush hush?
No, I mean, like, it's about a space military, it's like a kid he's 20. Well, he grew up in like the elite class of his planet, and he joined the military, and he expected to become an officer, but he got sorted into the Trace Division, which is basically just like cannon fodder. So basically he just like beefed the exam. So he ends up like on a space outpost with a bunch of people from like the lower classes, and he has to like get along with them all. There's also like a character who used to be like a sex robot and is now just a robot. Stuff like that.
This actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Available format, would it be a paperback, or are we looking at like ebook?
I mean, it just depends on who wants to publish it. I mean, I would love for, say, like Tor to publish it, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Are you... Well, you probably can't say. Are you in talks?
I'm not in any talks right now.
Well, if any publishers are listening...
Yeah, if you want to publish my robot sex space book.
Yeah, publish it.
With our long reach, the long arm of Geek Envy.
Yeah.
We'll source someone.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. I mean, that's pretty much kind of like the run through of things that I think I've got in terms of your stories and other things.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I know you have a website as well.
Yes.
I think
Aysha U Farah,
Aysha U Farah.
Yeah, why don't you spell that out?
Yeah, it's a little difficult for me there.
It's AYSHAUFARAH.com.
Cool. We'll add that to the show notes too.
And on that website, we can find your works, your previous adventures and endeavors.
Yep, pretty much has the links to pretty much everything that has come out recently. I have a couple new things that need to be added, but I'm bad at website.
I think we're all bad at websites.
We're terrible at websites.
Geek Envy used to be a website.
I know.
Actually,
I used to
wrote for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'd like to say
we could have plugged that a long time
writing,
ago.
But I don't know. It might have disappeared into the other.
Yeah, this guy I was dating really wanted to read my like angry like feminist Dragon Age article I wrote, but I cannot for the life of me find it.
Yeah,
God damn it, Joey, get on that.
I can't find all the old Geek Envy stuff either. I think Bluehost deleted everything in a fit of rage.
Oh,
classic.
Yeah, they put like the Geek Envy stuff on like the really bad server that's on a wooden rack, so that when it burns, it just goes. Everything goes.
Honestly, I think that article Aisha's talking about was our best trending article. I think
it was definitely on Reddit.
Yeah, because I threw it up on there, and some people were like arguing. It was nice.
Yeah, Reddit likes to talk about me now in Homestuck terms, and I just don't go there.
That's scary.
So, how do you like being an internet celebrity?
I don't know if I would go that far yet, but I definitely got about 84 birthday greetings yesterday, which was strange.
Yeah, that's wild.
It was awesome. Lots of people just kept sending me cakes that said like birth on them. Cake wrecks. Somebody called me Homestuck Mom, which was not great.
Okay, so I found the actual Reddit post, is diversity in Dragon Age unrealistic?
Oh, no.
It has the link is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Article.
I'm telling you, the rack burned down. It's gone.
Oh, that was
But
quick.
there's-
That was quick work, Eric.
Yeah, I'm quick
He
at
looked
this.
at my history or something.
How many
No,
downvotes does it have?
How many downvotes? Let's see. You are at 5 upvotes, actually.
Oh,
That's about-
sweet.
Downvote's still hidden due to...
For us, that's trending, guys.
Yeah.
5 upvotes.
I mean, there's discussion in the comments, which is good, but otherwise, the article does not exist.
It's all men, probably.
Men love to discuss.
Yeah. I love to argue. Everyone feeling good?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Great. So Aysha, I feel like we've really uncovered a lot of your career, just talking about everything we've done. It's definitely more than what a website can really, reveal.
True.
I mean, this is super exciting because I kind of know you, and you're like this really successful writer, and as a aspiring part-time writer myself, I think people want to know. They're not going to be able to obviously copy your steps to success, but you're doing it, you're successful clearly. What is it? How are you doing this?
I would say just write as much as you can. Write stuff that interests you. Talk about stuff that interests you. Make friends with everybody. Be very easy to work with. I don't know. So, I mean, my path towards working for Homestuck, which is basically what gave me a break, was through I wrote a lot of Homestuck fan fiction. Through fan fiction, I met one of the other writers on the project, Lalo Hunt, who this is before I'd read Homestuck, and we're best friends in real life. But Lalo introduced me to Magdalena, who is another person on the project, who then introduced me to Shelby Cragg, who is a big Homestuck artist from back in the day, and still nowadays in the day. And then she introduced me to Andrew, the creator, and then eventually he was like, "Oh, I know you're a writer. We have this thing that do you want to write ad copy for this website that we're putting up, the Extended Zodiac?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And then after that, he just kept giving me work, and now here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so my advice is just I've had to kind of go out of my comfort zone and sort of shove my foot in and to conversations that I would every instinct was no, don't talk yourself up. Sit there and wait for things to come to you, but that's not how it works.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It does seem like you have that just do it type of mentality where if they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" and you're like, "Sure."
Just do it.
I have a lot of trouble saying no, and because of that, every so often I look at all the stuff I have to do, and I'm like, "You did this to yourself.
Oh no."
You have so many projects. This is your own fault."
Right, but it's really cool.
You dug the grave.
Yeah, now you dug your grave, now you gotta lie in it.
Oh god, that's
Now,
kind of morbid.
Did you
I
envision?
meant it in a good way.
Did you envision writing for video games?
It was kind of a pipe dream. I've always I had no idea how you broke into that industry. My dad is a science fiction writer. He writes novels, so I kind of had the idea of the trajectory to becoming a novelist. You write a novel and then just send them to agents for years until somebody gives you a chance. But I had never really imagined that I would ever actually write a video game, and then it kind of was the first thing I did.
That's really
It was
cool.
By the way,
Yeah.
her dad's books are super rad as well.
Yep.
I've read
gotta
all of
plug
them.
those.
They're great. Yep. I'll plug them later.
Yeah, actually, maybe don't, because he
Oh,
uses my real last name.
Right. We will not. We'll edit that part out.
Just
Yeah.
go buy every dad book on
Yeah,
Amazon.
Yeah.
actually, my dad writes for Hiveswap Friendsim too.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, he likes Homestuck as well, and he wrote 2 routes in Friendsim.
That's super awesome.
Yeah. So, my dad has worked for me.
Now I have to play it because I've read all his other stuff.
Oh, you don't have to play it because of me, Matt?
I was gonna play it because of you. Don't worry, I'm just joking. It's on my wish list.
Uh-huh.
Now, what's the? I'm assuming in the writing process, in other ways, like for your own projects, is mostly calm and peaceful. But how is that when you're writing for a video game that has like maybe a schedule for you?
It was definitely more demanding, but I work really well under deadlines. Like, I don't procrastinate. I'm really good at self-motivating, which I think is what's helped me a lot. But yeah, it's a much more demanding schedule, but it actually makes you produce something instead of just like with my novel, if I had a deadline for when I'd have to finish it, I would do it a lot faster.
Right. Now, the extended Zodiac is really just like a really deep, almost like it's a normal Zodiac type thing, but it goes really deep.
It's a personality test, yeah.
Right. So that must have been fun to write for. How did you research that?
Well, Homestuck takes place within a game world, so everybody has, like, classes, almost like D&D classes. So, like, the main character is the Heir of Breath, and one of the main characters is the Knight of Time, and there's the, Witch of Space, stuff like that. And they have different powers depending on what their aspect is. So aspects have always been, like, a really big part of, like, Homestuck fan community. Like, people argue about what they mean and, like, how you get your aspect chosen. So Andrew just decided to, like, write a personality test that, gave you your aspect.
I see.
And in combination with a couple of other things, it gives you a sign in this extended Zodiac, which is 288 signs that I had to make titles for.
Oh, boy.
Now, the friendship simulator is neat because it really does something that novels kind of don't let you do, which is it gives you this ability to find out about the side characters in kind of this non-committal way.
Yes.
You can kind of just spend 15 minutes learning about this one character and not having to read another 200 pages of something. I think that's a really cool element. And do you think that you're going to pursue kind of this like format of storytelling in some of your own projects?
I definitely get very attached to side characters, and then I'm like, I want to write a whole book about this person.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty common for anybody who writes anything. Like, there's a whole, like, Starship Iris subplot that I, like, have made up in my head that I don't think is ever going to make it into the actual podcast, but I have, like, this whole, like, adventure of these side characters planned. But, yeah, no, the Friendsim is, like, a very odd creature because obviously it's, like, playing off of Dating Simulator.
Right.
So it was almost like a joke at first that you're, like, just desperate to be friends. And Courtney, you played part of it, so, like, the character is very horny for friendship.
Yes.
Like,
Which,
desperately.
me too. I can relate.
Yeah, like, protag, as we call them, protag or MSPA reader is a big mood, as the kids say. But, yeah, just, like, this idea of, you're following the character's plot rather than the characters following your plot, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like, you just crash into these characters' everyday lives, which is not something you see very often.
Right. I think. Is there anything you want to like elaborate on or go into?
Me?
Yeah.
Not really. Read Homestuck. Everybody should. I think it's a cultural touchstone.
So where do you start? So I went to the website for
Homestuck.com
and started reading it, and I got a ways in, but I feel like the ocean is vast.
Oh boy. The ocean is vast, 8,000 pages vast, in fact.
Dear God.
And some of those pages are just, like, really brief, just, like, a GIF or something, and some of them have, like, really long chat logs on them. So
it's like,
it is
it's like
an
pseudo-animated, which I thought was cool.
It is an undertaking. It is comic pages, flash games, flash animations, GIFs, interactive segments,
So it's like
chat
mixed
logs.
media.
Yes, mixed media. There's music. There's like just albums and albums. And the person who made a lot of the Homestuck music is Toby Fox, who made Undertale.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so Toby Fox, that very famous Undertale jam, Megalovania, which plays during your fight with Sans Undertale, is originally a Homestuck track.
I actually have that on my Switch to play. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, it's really dope. And Andrew has joked that it's called Undertale because Toby made it in his basement.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tudum-tsh.
Well, I think we might be done interviewing.
Oh.
Can we just ask you like shitty questions now?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, what's your favorite game of last year?
Of last year. Was Persona 5 last year, or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
last
We'll
year,
allow
I
it.
think.
Yeah,
I
Persona
think it was
5...
last year.
Persona 5 is the
last
last
year.
game that I got, like, super obsessed with.
Whoa. I feel weird about that game.
I love it.
I think I played it at a weird time and hated it.
Oh, I
You
loved it.
hyped it and then hated it.
So, like,
I
I like
liked
that
hated
game
it.
better in retrospect, I feel like. I, like, think fondly on it, but I think while I was playing it, like, towards the end, I was like, when will this end?
Persona
It
games
never ends.
Persona games have a lot of really deep thematic flaws, I think. I think they all start out really strong and then sort of just fall apart at the end.
Yeah.
And I mean, and now that I've had experience working on a game, I know how that happens. But like, it's just like there's so many good ideas that they just don't seem to have the balls to follow through on.
Yeah, and I think that's something important to talk about as people who, if people who listen to this may work on video games. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, there's elements of Persona 5 that do fall apart. Like, they go to Hawaii and absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, yeah, it's a like the game is slick as hell. Like,
yeah.
it is so fun to play. Like, mechanically, it's one of the best games I think I've ever played.
And unless you can't say that, like, how does that happen? How does a game end up with flaws?
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, some people work on it and they quit or they get fired, or, you know, there's a lot of turnover. It has different writers on it. The project moves hands. The trajectory moves. It's just like, it's like a lot of moving parts that's not the same as like one person sitting down and banging out a script.
Gotcha.
Like, it's just like got a lot of thinking, bunch of brains sitting together, especially if you're a small company and don't have a ton of money to pour into it.
Yeah.
And you're just like creating things by the skin of your teeth, kind of.
Which is weird because I feel like I'd want every project to kind of be my baby, and I wouldn't want to like let it stray from my vision at all.
It's so hard. It's just really hard to do that.
There's not very many game creators that do that. I think, like, Kojima. might
I
be
was
the
about
only
to
one.
say Kojima.
Yeah, he's like
Kojima-
the only one that does it.
Kojima is like the truest game creator, because he's the kind of guy who just like casts famous actors he wants to hang out with in his games. Like, he cast Mads Mikkelsen in Death Stranding because he's obsessed with him on Twitter.
And, like, honestly, like, on Twitter, just, like, pictures of them, like, at a bar, like, drinking.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
Yeah,
they're
and
hanging
he'll-
out again. Are they working? Probably
He'll
not.
tweet things like, Mads, my muse, my tormentor, and then Mads will just be like, hey, mate.
So weird.
Yeah,
Do you guys
Kojima,
have
that
shitty
guy's-
questions for
yeah.
Aisha?
I guess my one shitty question is, so can you tell us how long you've been in the industry?
Ooh,
That's like a normal question. It's not-
No,
This is a shitty question.
I got a shitty follow-up. Hold
I mean,
on.
I joined Hiveswap Act 2 a year ago.
Okay.
So about a year. A little bit more than a year. Maybe a year and 2 months.
Okay, my shitty question then falls apart here.
Oh, damn. That's why it was a shitty question.
Yeah, there we go. No, I was going to say, what have you seen over your time in the industry from when you first came in and where you are now? What's your perception? Has it changed? Has it been positive? Has it been negative?
I mean, I don't even know how much I can say that I'm like in the industry. I've worked for this one company, and I guess that makes
don't take this away from us, Aysha.
Okay, listen.
Yeah, God damn it.
I mean, like, it is one of the most fun things I've ever done. And it's also caused me deep amount of stress. But that's like any job. Any creative job that you care about deeply is going to just, like, torment you.
Do you feel like creative jobs could use, like, a huge dosage of, like, HR training?
Yes. Holy shit.
I feel like they need some general, like, nonprofit HR that you can just inject into all these creative pursuits.
I mean, it's like so many game companies nowadays and like podcast groups and stuff. It's just a bunch of millennials who got together and decided to make something. None of us know what the fuck we're doing. Like, none of us went to business school. None of us know how to run shit.
Or treat people, or communicate.
Yeah, none of us, like, we're all used to hunching in our rooms over our computers. And, like, we don't, nobody knows how to do anything. And you just, like, so, like, for the whole first few months of working for What Pumpkin, was just mostly people being like, oh yeah, we're doing this, do this. And I'm like, okay. And then I, like, quickly Google what that means. Because I, like, had no idea what I was doing.
I find that's what a lot of jobs.
That's normal jobs, yeah. So What Pumpkin is known for, they're known for getting so much money through Kickstarter to make games. Like, does that add pressure?
I actually can't really comment on the Kickstarter debacle. I can't really comment on that, but
gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sure the community itself is enough pressure.
Oh God.
So yeah, like is it wild to see, like, just looking at Hiveswap on Steam, like 644 reviews, very positive. Is that pretty wild?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't write Hiveswap Act 1, so I didn't...
Or, sorry, I'm talking about
Friendsim?
Hiveswap Friendsim.
Yeah,
that
yes, it is wild. It's really wild to, it almost feels like I've cheated, because I got hired to work for this company that already has a ginormous following, so it's almost like I, like, skipped a bunch of steps, like I didn't have to gain my own following, I kind of just hijacked Andrew's.
Yeah, I always wonder what that's like our podcast, for instance. Like, a lot of people say they like it, but they're all people I pretty much know, or know that they know someone on it, Like I'm sure there's some people that listen to it, but we don't get a lot of, like, feedback like that. I think that'd be wild if that happened.
It is very wild.
No, we have real fans out there, and to all those real fans out there that aren't related to us, we know you're out there. So
yeah,
thank
maybe you should, like, speak up,
I'm gonna get you guys some
Say
fans.
hi sometimes, we'll talk.
You can Instagram at us, whatever that means.
How does
us.
one Instagram at you?
You get up in the DMs. That's
I gotta slide into the DMs.
I don't have any more shitty questions.
Courtney, do you have a shitty question?
She probably does.
Wow, Joey.
Wow.
Wow.
No,
Jesus,
I don't
Joey,
have a
way to go off the
question.
rails, man.
I have a fantastic question to get to know my new friend better. So you said that you like cyberpunk science fiction. I know you kind of threw back to some of those inspirations, but do you have any other books or movies or video games that you have used as examples?
Gosh.
Or that you just love in general, I guess.
Love in general.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit her with a top 5 list.
That's
Go.
a really
Yeah,
good
top
question.
Oh God! Of like what? You have to fucking
Pressure.
tell me.
Usher.
I love Dragon Age. Dragon Age was one of my obsessions. Probably when Matt and I were living together, I was obsessed with Dragon Age.
We
I was
played a
playing,
lot of Dragon
Yeah,
Age.
we played a lot of fucking Dragon Age. I love. I really like the swimming anime.
Free.
Free. I love Free.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah. I like gay stuff. Most of the stuff I write is gay stuff. So I really like a series. I think I actually wrote a article for Geek Envy on Captive Prince, but that's like I hold up as the pinnacle of romance novel about gay princes. that I recommend to all your listeners out there.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Too bad that stuff's lost for.
Yeah, bye.
I was looking it up.
God, books. The book, like, I don't know, Shirley Jackson, who wrote The Haunting of Hill House, she has a book called We Have Always Lived in the Castle that is, like, kind of a masterclass on how to write trippy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Did you see the Netflix Haunting of Hill House?
I have not watched it. I've heard
Ooh.
very mixed things about it, as usual.
So enjoy it as a like a character study and a horror series.
Okay.
I wouldn't go into it like comparing it to the book.
Okay. All right. Oh, and as cyberpunk goes, the sci-fi show Killjoys is so fun. If you want to watch some really fun bullshit, watch Killjoys.
Good to know. Good to know.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Is that still going?
Killjoys?
I always get afraid ever since, like, what was it, Alphas, that they're gonna cancel a show on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, the Sci-Fi Network has been killing it recently with its, like, weird, like, low budget fantasy shows.
Yeah, I watched a really rad show by them recently.
Wait. Well, there was a show on Sci-Fi a few years ago that kind of like pulled my chain. It was about a group of people who were in a spaceship that they thought was lost in space or on a planet somewhere, but then it was
The Expanse?
No, The Expanse is Amazon show, or maybe it's a sci-fi show. I don't know.
Amazon bought it, so
I tried watching The Expanse and I was bored.
Supposedly the books are supposed to be good.
The show was like 5 episodes. It was like mini 5.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I watched the first episode,
but it was good. The twist was good.
Yeah,
but then they never made anything of it.
I don't know. I really like The Magicians.
I love the books.
The show is really different from the books, but I like it better, actually.
Gotcha.
I find it a lot more fun. I think the books are a little, like,
I couldn't
up
get
their
into
own
the
ass.
first one. Yeah, the first one seemed a little, like, pretentious.
Well, it's a very certain type of, like, everybody is stupid drama type of books.
I mean, the books, it got marketed as, like, this is an intellectual fantasy novel, which always kind of irritates me. I'm
when
go
I worked
fuck
at Borders,
yourself.
they said Harry Potter for adults.
I mean, that's literally, it's about going to a magic school and then going to Narnia. Like, that's what it's about. The show is just, like, bonkers. It is bananas.
Huh. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. Both of you and Courtney have been to Japan, so that's kind of like a part of the show is we're just jealous of everyone else. So
that goes to Japan.
Congrats on that. Yeah.
My cousin actually, my cousin lives in Japan, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so I go and visit him every so often.
Just rub the salt. It's okay.
Yeah, I love Japan. It's beautiful. I recommend.
Mm-hmm.
And what's nice about Japan is that there's more of a market for fanfic writers.
Holy shit. I, like, walked into a doujin store, and there was just, like, fanfiction for sale on the wall, and I, like, had a conniption. I was like, what?
Yeah. It's super cool.
Yeah.
We should it's on location. Podcast.
It's a really wild experience to, like, go to Ikebukuro and walk into, like, a really pretty, well-lit store that's playing pop music with just, like, a bunch of women all looking at porn comics together. It's, like, quite a fucking experience.
That's awesome.
It's really surreal and kind of
it's like a bunch of women and one furtive dude.
All right. Does anyone want to close this out or say anything else?
Well, Aysha, did you plug all of your things?
All of my things? Okay, so there's Homestuck Friendsim, there's Hiveswap Friendsim. Homestuck is not my thing, but you should read it anyway. The Strange Case of Starship Iris you should listen to.
How do we make you more money?
Jesus. I don't know.
How do you make us money?
Or, I mean, like, I have a Ko-Fi that you can donate money to.
Perfect.
And I have a Patreon, too, where I'm posting chapters of a YA novel that I've been working on for years and don't know if I'm actually ever going to do anything with it, so I'm just posting it on Patreon.
That's perfect.
So-
What are those?
What is that novel?
Are the links?
sites.
Oh, it's just Aysha U Farah on Patreon, or A U Farah, I think, on Patreon.
We'll link them in the show notes.
Yeah. So yeah, there's if you wanna, it's like, I think it's, if you pledge $2 a month, you can read the chapters. It's like not a huge situation.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks for hopping on here with us.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
welcome anytime.
Thank you so much for being so cool and letting me talk about Homestuck.
Thank you.
And anytime you want to come back and, talk about gaming, or
Oh yeah.
all we talk about now recently is Gundam because of these dudes. So
No,
I don't know.
It's an
I
obsession.
do not know dick about Gundam. So
that's good. That's good.
It's an obsession.
I think we've moved away from video games and Gundam, and actually I think we're really gearing ourselves more towards actual geek culture. We were
Speak for
talking
yourself, man.
about- Hey, you know,
I was building a Gundam during the podcast.
That's rude.
Wow.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. But I
No.
do have it in in front of me, but I wasn't building. It would be
you
too
were
loud.
thinking
You'd hear,
about
like,
it. You
little
were
clips
looking
and
at
stuff.
it.
I was, but I thought it might get picked up on the mic. So.
Your secret revealed.
it's okay. We've all played video games on on the podcast at some point.
That's
That's
fine.
why Eric, like all of a sudden he'll be silent for a while. He's like trying to beat a boss.
Yeah, I guess I'm playing. Yeah, right now I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 3. But the thing is, I write video games nowadays more than I play them. I just do not fucking have time to do anything.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Scary problem to have.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. And Courtney, let me know if you play any more Friendsim, or if you want somebody to pitch Homestuck at you really hard.
I would love that. I will start reading Homestuck, and then maybe I can ask questions to you.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, if you are a new listener, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. So go subscribe to us there and maybe give us a good review or something. We also have a small website at geekenvy.podbean.com, and we are on Instagram at @geekenvy. If you've got comments, questions, suggestions, concerns, insults, you can email us at askgeekenvy
I
@gmail.com.
have a concern.
Make sure to check out AyshaUfarah.com. That's AYSHAUFARAH.com. And Aysha, you can send us an email with that concern. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.